So a real quick rundown of why we're doing what we're doing and why we're doing the Dart do-over. So I traded for the Dart in 2013 when I was still in high school. So that meant that I had a high schooler's budget to build the car that I wanted, which meant I didn't do what exactly I wanted to do, what I had in mind, because I had to take parts that were kind of available to me at the time and put them together. But now that 4 years have gone by and I'm actually able to do a little bit more of what I want to, we're going to do a Dart do-over. So basically just kind of correct the things that I did back then and make the car a much more enjoyable vehicle. Here we have a Comp XE268H cam. I'll show you guys the part number in case you're interested in what it is. Right there, CL20-223-3. That's the cam and lifter combo. So I just went ahead and got the ones that were matched for the cam. And then I have the valve springs, which are 901-16. Those are the ones that Comp recommended as far as this cam. So I have the cam, lifters, valve springs, and then I got some Comp engine break-in oil additive. I'll throw that in whenever I do the break-in oil. Then I have a complete Felpro gasket kit for a small block, which I won't need all of it. I'll show you the part number just in case you guys want to know. I don't need the whole thing, but it's just cheaper to buy a complete kit than it is to, piece it together and whatnot. So I say that this cam is an upgrade compared to what I have now. I have the Mopar Performance 284 duration and 484 lift. That cam is way too big for the current setup that I have, and it's technically a smaller cam with the Comp, but like I said, it's a downgrade for an upgrade. So it makes a lot of sense for this setup in particular. Now I know that I said something about having my stall speed way too low. The converter that I put in this thing is actually a rebuilt lockup 904 torque converter that had added stall to it. So I'm thinking that the guy told me it was 2500, which I don't believe. I'm probably saying it's around max 2200. And hopefully if I have around 2000, then the cam should be okay. Because stock, those things come with around 16 to 1800. And I think that, if he, which you can tell, like the converter has a little bit extra in it with that particular cam, but I think that the cam is it's obviously way too big for the current setup that I have. Another thing I'm going to do with the cam is install a dual plane intake. I have an aluminum wind accelerator. Yes, it's a wind accelerator, aluminum single plane intake, which if you know about intakes, that's not the right setup for this particular engine. A single plane intake is more for like top end, high RPM, top end power and whatnot. I don't have that. I need bottom end torque, because what you gain on the top end with a single plane, you lose a lot more on the bottom end for this particular combo. It's just a stock engine. So that's why I'm going to go with a cast iron 360 intake. The ports will match with my current heads, and I'll show you guys me taking that off. I have another 360 block that's going to be the donor engine for whenever I build an engine for the Dart, but like I said, that's later on down the road. So pretty much I'll rob some parts off of it for the time being. I'll clean it up, paint it to match, and do all that kind of stuff, and I'll put that back on instead of the single plane because it just makes much more sense, and it'll give me that bottom end torque that I'm wanting and make it a lot better of a setup. So let's go ahead and take a look at my cam. Got the box ready to be opened. Alright, we have cam here, lifters. Go ahead and open up these and let you guys take a look. Never had a cam from Comp before. The only one that I've ordered was this Mopar Performance one. So this is new for me. So I'm kind of excited about it. So there's that's the specs on the cam. There we go. So we have 477 lift on the intake, 480 on the exhaust, 268 duration on the intake, and 280 on the exhaust. So it's a much milder cam than what I have. So that's my reasoning at least. And the lobe separation is 110 as opposed to the 108 that's on the Mopar Performance cam. And just a heads up, guys, I am no expert. I'm still learning on how cam specs work and everything. There's always something that, just kind of baffles me about them. So I'm still trying to figure out how everything works about them. So don't take my word for anything at this point. Still, it's one of those things that's kind of, you got to wrap your head around how everything works about it. But I'm learning, so we're going to try it out with this cam. And next we have our lifters. So that's just, I don't know what that's for. I guess it's just part number, but yeah, here's all of my lifters here, and this is a hydraulic flat tappet cam, no rollers or anything, so it's just no solid lift or anything like that. So just your basic low maintenance cam. I'm going to pre-soak these. I have stuff ready for that here in a second. I'll show you that after I unbox the valve springs. Let's go ahead and take the lid off these. Okay, here we go. We've got some stickers. It tells us to protect our investment. I'll read that here in a second. We've got some paper there, and this is just for storage. But there's our valve springs. These will be going in the dart. I don't exactly know the specs on these. I'd have to look because I don't know offhand, but these will be the ones that match this particular cam, and they're rated for the right job. So now, while I have everything out, I'm going to go ahead and pre-soak the lifters. I'm going to take and one by one take them out of the box and just line them up accordingly. Just go one row, and then pour the oil in on top of it. Got the water pump off, the alternator, power steering is unhooked, fuel pump is off. Next I'm going to take the harmonic balancer, then I'll be able to pull the timing cover off. I think I'm going to call it a night tonight because I've got a lot done. Got all of this off. And it may seem like it didn't last long, but this is probably over the course of a couple hours. So the video makes it look short. And it's day 2. Let's get the harmonic balancer off, then we'll get the timing cover off, and we'll be on our way.
And there we are down to the timing cover. Before I go any further, I want to go ahead and get the intake off. That way I don't have to worry about anything else up top. Pull the intake, valve covers, and we should be good as far as pulling the cam out.
Stuck in it. Once you wire, set your wire over the corner. There you go. Let me hand it out to me.
Making great progress. I pulled the intake off, and then I went ahead and got the valve covers off, as well as the rocker arms, and then the push rods. So now all I have to do is clean up all that gasket material and get all of that off before I start going backward. Then after that, I'm actually going to put a new timing chain on this one. I put that timing chain on it whenever I did this engine the first time, but it's got a lot of slack in it. I don't really know why. So I'm going to put a new one on it. Other than that, I have this Offenhauser intake that I'm going to run instead of running the factory cast iron dual plane. This one is going to be the one that I'll use. The only problem with it is there's a broken tab right there. But the good news is I can actually use the inside bolt hole here. So I'll take and tap all 4 bolt holes, clean it up, paint it, and it'll look just fine for what I have. I have made quite a mess. So I think I'll spend the rest of the night cleaning up all the gasket material off, and the next shot that you'll see will be me in the morning starting to put stuff back together. All the valve springs are put in, and it was pretty miserable, I'm not going to lie. I had to take a spark plug out of each cylinder and then pump it up with this air hose. Basically that just keeps your valves from dropping when you pull the locks. But what I do, I take this little tool right here, put that around the valve and the valve spring, and that compresses it. That way that you can get the little locks out of it. Then take the old one out, put the new one in, compress the spring, and then put the locks back in. Pretty tough doing it in the car. It'd be a lot easier if they were out of the car, but being that I don't really have the time to take the heads out and do what I want, it just made more sense to do it in the car. But it took all day long, I'm not going to lie. But the good news is we're going the opposite way now. So now we're going to go ahead and start putting the new timing chain on, and then the cam, everything, and it's going to go back together now.